What is up, YouTube? So I'm going to show you my temporary rainwater setup. Now, we have a well that's going to be drilled, and it's been about a year, and they keep saying, 6 to 16 weeks or 8 to 16 weeks, and they keep pushing it back, and then now they're not even giving me a time frame. So I needed water here at the build because we needed to burn some piles, and I just need to be able to wash my hands. I got plumbing in the house, so I need to do a pressure test. So I just needed water in general. So I set up a rainwater system, jerry-rigged it. So this is the temporary setup right here. This is actually going to be moved back there and actually have a shed built around the entire thing. This originally was the tank that the well was going to pump to and then was going to service the house. But right now it's catching rainwater, so it's closer to the house so it can come off this gutter. And I'm going to show you how I set it up. And keep in mind, this is very, very temporary. So it's literally here for maybe a couple months. And if it's here for any longer than that, then I'm actually going to move it, run a rainwater spigot or a rainwater drain off way further back, and just do it the right way and just keep collecting rainwater. But as of right now, this is purely meant for job site water. But the setup does work well. So what it is a 1,000-gallon tank. Just nothing fancy. We have a 3-inch PVC zip taped to a gutter. Let me show you the gutter that we're getting. So we're collecting rain off of these roofs right here. The roofers still aren't finished. It's been over a month. Wouldn't recommend them. But anyway, this is what we have. So this is where we're catching the water. So the water hits this gutter, comes all the way across, and dumps into this tank right here. Now, from this tank, we got a Harbor Freight pump. This gives us actually, I think it's around 18 gallons per minute, so it's crazy powerful, more than we need. But what I did is I just have a shut-off valve here that connects to a check valve. Basically, this check valve makes sure that water doesn't come back into the tank and can keep this pump pressurized. Otherwise, it'll just start and stop. So there's a check valve that leads straight into my pump. And then the pump kicks it into this 90, which comes over here, kicks down mainly because I didn't want it to be a trip hazard, goes all the way around the tank and enters the tank right here. Another check valve, because this needs to make sure that the water in this pressurized tank doesn't kick back to the pump. So once it gets into the tank, this tank is pressurized. It is currently set on my check valve here for, I believe, 3050, or is it 20? Yeah, I think it's 3050, right? Basically meaning that it'll pressurize up until 50 psi, and then the pump will kick on. Puppies are sleeping. When this tank gets down to 30 psi. So this tank will have 50 psi pressure, and it'll drop from there down to 30 psi. Then this pump will kick on and fill it back up. Now, when the water comes out of this, so first off, we have a pressure gauge. This is if anything gets out of hand and it gets too pressurized or whatever. This is a release valve. Here is, or basically a release valve that will basically I can use to get water out of it if I need to depressurize it or empty it out or whatever else. And then here's my pressure gauge, which we'll show you right now. It's at around 45, which means, or 40, yeah, 45, which means there's still enough pressure. The tank's not going to pump on, or the pump's not going to kick on. Now, when it comes out of here, it comes into a silt filter. This is just a singular silt filter. This is basically going to clean the water prior to getting to the whole house filter. So this cleans the water, gets all the nastiness of whatever's in it. Thankfully, we're pretty clean because we are collecting rainwater, but dust, dirt gets in there. This is going to clear that out. Then it comes into the whole house filter. This goes through a second filter here. And then from this filter, it goes into this very not well installed 3/4 inch PEX, which goes into my inlet. Now, I'm supposed to put a box there. Haven't done it yet, but that is my shutoff valve to the house. And it's in the mud, so judge me. But as of right now, I have pressurized water, which is what I needed. So this is my setup. The tank cost me around $500. This tank cost me, I think, around $900. This pump cost me $200, which the comparables are around $400 to $1,000 for a pump like this. I've heard great reviews on this, and honestly, this thing is a beast. And I bet once I get it covered and it's not in the elements like it is right now, it'll run longer than you would ever imagine. So I'm actually probably going to stick with that. But anyway, this whole setup overall probably cost me, with all the fittings and everything else, probably cost me around, I would say, $2,800 to $3,000. And it's giving me pressurized water to my job site, and I'm very happy with it. Now let me show you the pressure that I get out of it. So here's my Aquar spigot, which I absolutely love. So basically this is a freeze-proof spigot that can, you basically freeze-proof it as soon as you turn it off. So what I have here is my hose, and then I have this adapter attached to my hose. All I do is I stick it in here, I twist it, and I have a pressurized water now, and you can see great pressure. Let me turn on jet. Where's jet? There's jet. Great pressure, and that's not even 50 psi. That's probably sitting around 40 psi right now. And then whenever I'm done, all I do is kick this out. It's going to drain this faucet. I close this off. Now if it gets below freezing overnight, I don't have to worry about anything freezing. We're good to go here. Again, we haven't put the siding on the house yet. We're waiting for it to stop raining. But overall, that is the setup, ladies and gentlemen. It's temporary. Well, the setup itself is temporary. The way it's set up is going to be the way I do it. I'm just going to do it properly, mounted things to the wall, secure the piping, stuff like that. But overall, that's the temporary setup that will then be transcribed into my shed, and then it'll be my full setup. And that'll actually stay the same even when we do get the well drilled, because the well will then pump to this tank up here. And then we're going to put basically a float in the big tank, so that when that tank gets full, that float will kick up. It'll shut off the pump at the well. The well will stop pumping. We'll drain this down to maybe 300 gallons, and then once it hits 300 gallons, it'll fill back up. The one thing that I would mention for this is that if you are going to use a holding tank, make sure the water that you're pumping in, the fresh water that you're pumping in, have a pipe that runs to the bottom of the tank, maybe around, I don't know, 3 inches from the bottom of the tank, and have that water pumped down to the bottom of your tank. That way you're not going to be pumping stagnant water. You're always going to have fresh cycled water. So just a little quick tip. But overall, guys, I hope that helps somebody. The house is coming along. It's getting there. Got the Christmas tree up in here, and we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. If you haven't, I would appreciate you subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next video, and we're going to get back to work, and I'll give you guys a tour of the inside and where it's at right now on the next video. So much love, y'all. See you on the next one.